Hi everybody, today we're going to talk about getting your vehicle ready for the camping season. So we did a video a little while ago about the end of the season, what to do putting your vehicle away. Now I know a lot of you use your vehicle throughout the year for camping and as a normal vehicle as well, because it's perfect for that, great size for doing it. But there are some of you out there that do put your vehicles into storage, or you have them in your garage, etc. Over the winter period, and you get them out. So today's video, we're going to have a look at some of the things which we do to get them ready, to get them back on the road again. There'll be a few things that I'll mention depending on your age of vehicle as well. So obviously if you've got something fairly new, some of the bits that I'm going to talk about, cleaning, etc., probably don't apply to you there as well. So just take that obviously as you want and take out which bits you get in there. As always, anything we don't cover on the video, pop in the comments box below. Let's have a good old discussion about it. I'm sure there's things that you do that I don't do or haven't done with the one that's on here as well. So the first thing we're going to do is have a look at the batteries that's on the vehicle. So obviously, if you've not been using the vehicle, I'm sure you've probably been turning it over, keeping the batteries topped up. So the first thing I like to make sure is get a really good charge, and that's nice and easy because all we need for that is to plug in at the back. So nice and easy to get these batteries charged up, and this is something you might have already connected to your vehicle that you've got if you've got it in storage as well. So pop this in on the side, so just pull it up, push that in, that's in there, then it's into place. And then obviously this needs to go into a socket on the outside. Obviously you've probably got one of these with another one on the end of here that then goes in somewhere, but obviously if you're inside, for example, what I do from on here, I use the lead we get with the vehicle. That's just an adapter which goes from that plug socket to a 13 amp plug socket. For in here, we just pop that on and then pop that straight into a wall socket, and then it charges all the batteries up. Now, depending on what vehicle age you've got, obviously this charging is going to charge your leisure batteries, and in some cases in the newer vehicles, it's also going to charge your front battery as well. But the important thing we're trying to do is get the leisure batteries. Now on the display, as soon as you plug in on the display is going to show you that it's plugged in. Again, depending on the age of your vehicle, so on the new 6.1 with the bigger screen, you'll get the little orange light that comes up on there, and on the older style screen that's on there, again, you'll still get the little plug lead that shows you that it's actually connected. At that point then, as long as your plug socket's on the back, obviously they're going to be on because the light's showing on the dash, you know you're all good. And it's going to be charging those batteries up, getting them back to peak efficiency. I'd leave that on for a day and let them batteries get fully charged so that you know that your batteries are all ready. Next is going to be our water. Now, I'm going to assume at this point you drained your water down from last season, and if you haven't, you're just going to go through a cleaning process with your water. It turns out obviously you can put a cleaning additive in water and then put that water into here straight away, which you can do. So you've got a couple of options from on there. You can have a bucket and put it straight into your hose in here. That will go straight into your tank. Obviously then you can have a drive around with that solution in there, and then obviously then you can drain that out and then just keep filling it and filling it back through, and that obviously will rinse through your tank that's in here and rinse through your front section as well. Now, depending on your age of vehicle, obviously the older your vehicle is or the more times you're using it. If you've got a fairly new one, you might not even need to do that. You might think it's perfectly fine. But as the vehicle gets older, obviously it's a good idea to give those tanks a good wash out. And as I said, there's tablets you can buy that's in there. There's a liquid chemical which you can do to put in with it. And obviously then that just kills off anything that's in the water tanks as well. That's there. And then as I said, you can run that through your water tanks and exit from the end of it. And I always like to give it a good flush out from in there as well. So again, I'll fill the tank up maybe 2 more times, go and have it a drive, that gets all sloshing around in there, gets all parts of it done, and then run that back through. Let me know how you do it if you clean those out as well. That's in there. A couple of things to let you know and show you reference those, because obviously you're going to keep putting water in here, but when you want to empty the tank to empty, you don't want to empty it all the time. You'll just be running it through the tap all the time. So as most of you know, there is a little catch in the side here. So if I come into the back and come round into here, and this is the same regardless of what age of California you've got. There's a little red handle which Tinfo kind of going to show you now at the back, that red handle there. So that's in the open position as we speak at the moment. So if I was, which would not be a good idea because we're sitting in the showroom, to put water in that tank at the moment, it would just literally pour straight back out on the ground. So to close it, you just pop that back into the the closed position, and then that will then actually close the tank off, and then obviously water will store in that tank. And it's no different obviously for your grey water as well. You want to put some, that clean additive can go through your grey tank as well, that's in there as well, and then that drain that back down for that. And so that's kind of depending on the age of your vehicle. The newer your vehicle is, probably the less that you need to do that. I think it was me using a lot during the year. I'll be doing that probably every year as well for the vehicle, and just make sure that I know it's all ready, it's all clean, and it's all good to go. Now, hopefully your fridge has had something in it so it's not been closed the whole of the winter time, because if it has been, it might not be too nice in there. But again, the fridge is something, a good spray out with a detergent, antibacterial spray is perfect, all that it needs really. That makes sure that aerates really well. Give it a good clean that's in there as well, so that's all ready for the season. I'm sure your cooker hobs and everything else is all nice and clean. And then the next thing after that obviously is for your roof. So I would advise before you go away, your first trip that's on there, really important to get this roof open, let this canvas have a good air on the outside of it, open the valves, get some fresh air in and throughout the vehicle. Make sure that everything is fully dry that's in there. I'm sure it will be, and I wouldn't have put it away if it's not. So get that roof open, get your zips open, etc. That's in there as well, and make sure everything is good to go. A few things to point out on the roof though, which is well worth doing. So when you open your roof as well over the winter time, depending on where it's been parked or where it's been, you might find that you've got a lot of like litter, and by litter I don't mean like the stuff that people throw away. I'm referring to things like foliage from trees and things like that you can get in the vehicle, and they love to get into channels or on the top when the roof is down, in between the back of here and there. So I'd give them all a good clear out. Make sure that your channels where your roof is, when your roof is up, is all clear and there's no debris at all. It's in this whole section that's in here, because as you imagine, obviously it rains, you've got drain channels and things like that that's in there, and you don't want to stop and prevent any of that. So give all that a really good clean out. And then moving up to your top one as well, also worth noting, this rubber seal, which is on the top here, this rubber seal is what actually obviously seals the vehicle in on the top, and it's always good practice, I think, on that, to give that a wipe down and just make sure there's nothing on that, there's no debris on that, for example, it's got underneath it in the wind and the cold that's in there as well. And I'd wipe that all the way round. I know what you're all thinking is I can't reach it because it's too high, but remember, when you drop the roof down, you can drop the roof down and stop it at any point. So you can bring this all the way down to here. You might still need a step ladder to get to it, that's on there, but give it a good wipe all the way around the inside that's on here. I mean, this is a brand new vehicle, and it's got a bit of dust that's on it, but we're just giving it a good wipe just to make sure that it's all cleaned off and there's nothing on there as well. I tend to find, particularly for some reason, I don't know why, but the ones I've seen in before, it tends to be worse on the back bit on here. So give this all a really good clean out at the back, make sure there's no debris or anything that's in there as well, and giving your roof section there a good clean as well. Next thing is the awning. Now this is obviously again going to depend on your age of vehicle. So as your vehicle gets older, and obviously your awning's been used more that's in there, you're going to get dirt and things like that piled up from it as well. Things like this, I would probably, may have given it a clean before, put it away possibly, but definitely as I'm getting out into the new season, where it's going to be a bit warmer, so it's going to dry a lot easier, is I get that awning all the way out, I give it a good inspection, make sure everything is okay that's in there as well. Try and get up on top of it as well by bringing it down ever so slightly, and have a look at the top coat that's on there, see if it needs a wipe down, if it needs a clean, if you've got any bird duct and stuff like that. You want to make sure you don't leave that on and get all that kind of stuff that's off the roof as well. So awning's definitely well worth having a good look at that as well, and getting that to make sure it's all good for the season. Next thing is your gas. So normally I would turn my gas off during the winter when I'm not using the vehicle, but it's worth having a quick check of it. So on your gas bottle, this is a new vehicle, so we don't got the gas bottle that's in here, but obviously you know your regulator, we've looked at these before. So as a matter of course, even if you've not disconnected it, I tend to disconnect it when I'm not using it, that's on here, but I would obviously reconnect it, for example, or make sure that it's tight, that's on there, and actually test it with the gas that's in there. So put the gas on, maybe make yourself a cup of tea. So it's definitely worthwhile before you go away for the first time. Make sure things like your gas is working okay, so you can boil a kettle that's on the top that's on there. Check your fridge is working okay, put some food in there, get that down to temperature, because I'm sure you're aware the last thing you want is to find there's a problem with something when you're actually away rather than when you go away in the first place, and then you can get that together. It's also at this time of year as well, you might be considering how much gas you've actually got left in the vehicle. So unfortunately, there's no gauges on this type of gas bottle. So with the 907s or the 904 gas bottles that's in there. So it's the old-fashioned pick it up and give it a bit of a shake. And you'll get an indication to how much, the longer you have a gas bottle, you know, with the weight of it, etc., how much gas is actually that's in there. Because again, you don't want to run out of gas while you're away. So it might get to the point where it gets low, for example, you might say actually now's the time to change it. But if you think about where you are at the beginning of the season and where to the end of the season. If you've been following us for a while and you've checked out any of our gas videos we've done before, you're sure that I've said to you in the past, these gas bottles, you've got the big one, the 907, last for a ridiculous length of time. So it's definitely worth something of checking at least every year when you get in, because you might not have thought about it and the last thing you want to do is go away and run out of gas while you're actually away with it, because then obviously you've got to sort that out and find a replacement, which is not always as easy as you might think at current times. So now, one thing we really can't show you about is the heater. Now, it depends on which model you've got. A lot of these things, whether you've got an Ocean, an SE, a Coast, for example, are going to be very, very similar. Some of them, even if you've got a beach, so things like the gas supply, etc., are going to be the same that's on there as well. But things to bear in mind with these, obviously, you've got your diesel heater on there again. And again, with something like that, is I'd run that for a little bit of the time before you're going to go away for the first time in the year and just make sure that it's working correctly. Get it running up to a nice warm temperature that's in the vehicle. Make sure you're getting that heat supply that's coming out and it's working all okay. As always, make sure you've got enough fuel in your vehicle before you start running that heating system as well, and just make sure everything's all good with the vehicle. A couple of things just to finish off. One of the basic ones is checking your tyre pressures. So make sure your tyre pressures all the way around are the same. Now, obviously, your tyre pressures, if you open up the inside here, on the door, you'll all have a little sticker that tells you about tyre pressures on the side, and it all depends. So you pick out which tyre you've got on, so what size wheels you've got on the vehicle, and to what kind of load you're actually carrying on the vehicle. So obviously, the more weight you think you're going to have in the back, generally the higher the tyre pressure that you would have on the rear to compensate for that. But it gives you all that information on there as well. So check your tyre pressures, make sure they're all good. And while you're checking those, obviously check your tyre condition as well. So you want to make sure you've got lots of tread that's on those tyres. Legal requirement is 1.6 mil across the whole top of the tyre. You don't really want to be driving on a vehicle that's near to 1.6 mil, 2 millimetres. You need to be changing it, in my opinion, if not before, really. From the size of vehicle that it is, etc., it's on there. You want a good amount of tread that's on there, and I'm sure that's the case. For your older vehicles that are out there, obviously, depending on the mileage that you've done on those, well, just check the tyre walls, make sure there's no cracking around the tyre walls, and if there are, that's something worth thinking about changing that tyre. Again, you nip into a tyre specialist, nip into your Volkswagen dealer. They can advise you on that if that's something that needs to be done. And then under the bonnet-wise, a couple of things to check. So under the bonnet on here, the only things really we're going to make sure is, which you probably do, is make sure your screen wash is all topped up. Check your oil level that's on the vehicle. So your dipstick is the big yellow one, which looks like that. You pull out. If you do check your oil and your dipstick in there, just make sure it's locked straight back into place and it goes in with a click. Because you don't want it slightly open that's on there. So check your oil levels are all okay that's on there. Everything else should be as it is, really. Those are the things that could. Obviously, you've got things like your coolant, for example, but your coolant shouldn't go up and down unless you're driving anyway. That should normally be covered under your regular servicing things that you do as well. But as I said, topping up your water, make sure that's done, making sure your oil level's about right, where it needs to be, that's on there as well. And then that's about it as far as the actual vehicle is concerned. There are going to be things you're going to be doing at this point now, is obviously you're probably going to start putting your things back in for the season, effectively on there, things that you're keeping all the time. You might have taken your bedding out, things like that. So all that kind of stuff, that's down to yourselves. You're going to do. That'll be your personal ones, what food you're putting in. You might have food already in there and all that kind of things. You might find some food that maybe shouldn't have been in there. So I've done that once or twice on vehicles that we haven't looked at for a while. So and get all those good things out there. And then at that point, then you're pretty much ready to go. Well, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm sure there's lots of other things that some people do depending on what you've got on your vehicle. I know I spoke to somebody the other day and he was he's got solar panels on the top of his roof, and he was mentioning about getting them clean, for example. Great tip on that one as well, is obviously because that will affect how well they work if they're not clean. So I'm sure there's lots of things that you do which is on top of these things as well. Please put them in the comments box below so everybody who's watching the video can have a look at those comments as well and see if there's anything we can bring and share to you next time. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. As normal, give us a thumbs up, give us a like. If you don't subscribe to the channel and you're new here, please do subscribe and click that notification bell, and you'll get the videos sent to you on your feed as soon as they come out. See you next time.